Hello guys, I continue the series on this channel this week to build a typical Laravel Saas, and lesson number 4 out of 5 is about multi-tenancy. And it's such a broad topic that in 15 minutes video I think I barely scratched the surface, because there's a lot of possible ways to make your project multi-tenant. In this video I showed both single and multiple databases and various pitfalls you may find along the way, including the pitfall that I struggled to make the multi-database multi-tenancy work with the latest changes of starter kits, which moved from controllers to Laravel Fortify. All of that in this video, and if you want the full course including the repository links, then the link will be in the description below. In this video, let's talk about multi-tenancy, and that term has so many meanings and such a broad interpretation spectrum. I will just show you a few examples from Upwork. So for example, multi-tenant SaaS application, but it says shared database with organization team level isolation. So that's kind of the simple multi-tenancy. But also you may find something like this: full stack developer, and then let me just zoom that in a bit, multi-tenant SaaS platform, and one of the requirements is tenant isolation, database cache storage. Also another job I found, multi-tenants help desk platform, already existing SaaS help desk, and it doesn't really specify how that multi-tenancy is implemented, but the hint is multi-tenant setup clean, isolated, and scalable, so probably separate databases. But actually, if we get back on the ground, multi-tenancy can be also interpreted for smaller projects for starting the SaaS as just filtering by user or by team, in the same database, in the same code base, with just eloquent operations. And then if you do need to scale, or maybe upfront you have the project with like B2B use case with legal requirements for isolation, then you may go more complex with multiple databases. I will show that case in the second part of this video, but for our SaaS, for this project, I will go more simple. Because for many developers who want to create their own product and launch their own SaaS, probably they will start small with just B2C users, simple humans using their platform and not organizations. So let me show you the functionality I've built. When the new user registers, create an account, then they see tasks CRUD, which is basically any CRUD for any data in your application. For SaaS, in this course, we will be talking about layers of architecture and what is the actual, so to speak, meat of your project. It doesn't really matter that much because it's very individual. So I will show the example of just to-do list task. It may be list of anything, list of clients, list of projects, list of products in eShop, whatever. It doesn't really matter that much. We will be talking about how to restrict that for multi-tenancy in this case. So when I try to create a new task with fake filler Chrome extension in the database, there's a table task, and in this case I've created that with user ID and organization ID. So organization is created automatically during the registration. We talked about that in the previous lesson. And then each task automatically belongs to a logged in user and their organization. So in the code, here's the eloquent model of task belonging to those two. And in the task controller, in the store method, those two are filled in automatically in the store method. Of course, you can use observers for that, or events and listeners, or pre-fill that in the model, in the boot method. This is your personal preference. But basically those are pre-filled in the hidden way. And side note, organization ID, technically you could skip that field and leave just user ID and then query by organization with the relationship, but that would make the select queries slower. So I prefer in this case to kind of duplicate that task belongs to organization ID and also user belongs to organization ID. It's kind of duplicated data, but for a reason of performance of select. And this is where we get to select queries. And this is another question for interpretation of multi-tenancy. Who can access those records? All users of that organization, for example, which is in this case implemented, or for example, only users themselves, only accessing their personal task. So this where condition may be depending on the project. Also, that where condition may be in global scope for all the eloquent queries. This is another kind of technical personal preference. So this where condition and this create statement is already considered kind of a multi-tenancy. So then you implement similar conditions in all your Eloquent models and controllers. Then of course you need to validate a lot of stuff so that users wouldn't be able to edit or destroy the records from other organizations, and you can put that in policy, for example, like we did in this case. So here's the policy method of update, checking the organization, but also you may choose to validate by user ID, so updating or deleting only your own tasks. That's what I meant in the beginning of this video when I said that multi-tenancy can be interpreted in many ways. It's pretty individual. But just this simple setup of multi-tenancy by scope and Eloquent may be enough to start your SaaS without even thinking about multiple database or isolations, and without the need to install any external packages. This is kind of in style of Laravel in general as a rapid development framework to launch something quickly. But if you have legal requirements or job description to have multi-tenant isolated, let me show you how it can be done. For that, I created a new separate fresh Laravel project using the package tenancy for Laravel. You can also see that as stancl tenancy or architect tenancy on GitHub. So here I am in my composer JSON, and this package is here. Now let me show you how it works, and then we'll dive into the code. So here I am on the home page of tenancy.test, but if I click register, there's one new field on top of default starter kit, which is subdomain. So I fill in all the fields with fake filler Chrome extension except for subdomain. Let's change that to ABC, for example. Create an account, and then I land on my subdomain abc.tenancy.test. In this case, it's automatically powered by my Laravel herd locally. On a real server, you need to configure Nginx to accept subdomains and also configure your DNS record for the domain itself. But look what's inside here. We have tasks CRUD, pretty similar to the one that I showed you just a minute ago for local simple multi-tenancy. And then if I add a new task with fake filler Chrome extension, now let's look at the database, or in fact databases. First, we have the main central database called tenants, which has just the tenants, the migrations, and domains, and also system tables of Laravel installation. Then that domain has a separate database with tenant ID 1, so the database name on the same server I've chosen is tenant, and then number, the ID of the tenant. So now if I search for tenant databases on my local server, I can open tenant 1. And then in tenant 1 and in each tenant, so tenant 2, tenant 3, and then whoever registers the new database is created automatically. In here they have users, tasks, and all the other database tables for the rest of the application. So this is the actual tenancy with isolation of the database. You have database migrations as kind of main Laravel project list, and then you have database migrations tenant, and in here you create more migrations, more database tables, and migrate them simultaneously to multiple databases. And this is done with the help of that package, and let me briefly show you how it is configured in this case. So if we take a look at installation of this package, it's just composer require on top of default starter kit, as I did in this case, then tenancy install and migration, and then you need to add tenancy service provider into Bootstrap providers in Laravel 11 or 12. Then we need to create a specific tenant model and specify that tenant model in the config. So this is exactly what I did here, tenant class with tenant model, and also I've changed the ID generator, which is by default generating UUID for every tenant, and I prefer the ID generator as auto increment, so in here I've put null. Next, you need to configure your central domain tenancy.test, and also important, in .env session domain should be .tenancy.test for wildcard subdomain. Then if we look at routes web, it's empty. So where are the routes? We have routes tenant having all the routes from previous tasks, settings, and other starter kit routes, except for login and register. And in latest versions of Laravel starter kits with Livewire, Vue, and React, they switched from controllers and routes for that to Laravel Fortify. This is why, to be honest, it took me quite a while to prepare this demo, longer than I expected, because I had to dig deeper how to configure the login and registration routes. And they are now controlled by Fortify, and we have Fortify Service Provider, where we can configure login response, for example, and configure views for the form. And this is where that multi-tenancy may become even more complicated. So, for example, with wildcard subdomains, should the registration happen in each subdomain separately or in the main domain without subdomain, and then it would be automatically redirected to the subdomain URL dashboard? This is exactly what I implemented here. So for that, in this case, in Fortify Service Provider, we need to configure something like logout response based on tenancy. So we need to redirect to login form of that specific subdomain, because if we try to log in the main non-subdomain environment, then we don't know where that user is coming from, because the user's table is in the tenant databases, not in the main central one. You may want to do it the other way around. You may want to store users in the central database, but then you lose the relationship. So for example, tasks would be in the tenant database, and you cannot then add tasks user ID. This would be cross-database relationship. So in this case, user's table is in each tenant database, and for that you need to do quite a lot of checks to redirect after registration, for example, after login and after logout. And this is, in this case, configured in Fortify Service Provider, overriding the default configurations. Also, the registration process is managed in App Actions Fortify Create New User, and here we have subdomain with a lot of validation, and then at the time of user registration we need to create the tenant, which in turn will automatically create the database powered by that package of multi-tenancy, and then we create that user. But that user is created already with tenancy initialized, which means in the tenant database. Also, what I forgot to mention with routes in Bootstrap app, we need to configure those for each of central domains. To have routes web and route tenant, you can do that in the routes web by including routes tenant, or you can configure that in Bootstrap app globally. And then there are even more things to consider for that package to work. So for example, middleware initialization tenancy by domain, there's a middleware, but also you may have more middlewares, like for example blocking the central domain login. This is the thing that I mentioned, so they wouldn't be able to log in without the subdomain. And then you need to pass that middleware somewhere in the routes, or for example, in this case, it may be done in the config Fortify. This is the middleware array configurable. And then as you build new features, you create the new database table, as I mentioned in database migrations tenant. In the documentation, it's a separate artisan command, so you don't run PHP artisan migrate, you run tenants migrate, which would migrate the data in multiple databases. But the code base remained the same. Of course, if you have individual functionality, you may add if statements by specific domains, tenants, or stuff like that. And this is where it may get tricky. So recently I got a question over email from one of the Laravel daily members. So this is the question: how do people generally scale if the content in DB may vary based on client's usage? So yeah, this is the part of multi-tenancy. If you go multiple databases route, you add a lot more complexity to manage separate databases, both in infrastructure terms and in migrations, and ensure that the databases are in sync. And you can end up with a situation that one client may use like one or two features, and then another client would use it more extensively or create millions of tasks, and then you have inequality of the databases, and you may want to separate them into separate servers to have the scale for specific one client. But this is more like DevOps topic more than coding or Laravel. A lot of things can be configurable with DB connection with the help of that package tenancy for Laravel, but the storage of the data and the files by tenant also actually it may be configurable with the package, the file systems and stuff like that. So part of that is configurable in the code, and another part is server management stuff and configuration with the access. So that alone could be multiple hours of separate course. Maybe I will do that in the future. But for now, in this case, I just wanted to show you the overview that it's possible to go multi-tenant route with multiple databases, but I guess you would have to do that only if you, well, have to. This is my personal experience. If you are legally bounded to have tenant isolation, then you do that. Otherwise, for smaller SaaS solutions, start with single database and don't bother yet. Or in other words, if the customers of your SaaS or your client's SaaS are humans, people like John Smith or Jane, potentially with small team of their own group of people, it's fine with single database with maybe settings and team here, but within the same database. But if your customers are corporates like, I don't know, Microsoft, Google, of course, smaller companies, but you get the idea. It's B2B sales then. And then, of course, the sales process is different for SaaS, but also isolation of the data becomes much more important because each company cares about privacy of their data on a very different level. So yeah, I wanted to explain this kind of philosophical decision, and I hope from this video you get the idea how to implement multi-tenancy both with single database or with multiple databases with a separate Laravel package.